Welcome to Off the Hanger, the fashion podcast where we delve deep into our guests' wardrobes, finding out their favourite fashion pieces and the stories behind them. This week's guest is Ashlee Rose. We had an incredible chat about her amazing career in fashion, all the gorgeous things in her wardrobe and the brilliant stories behind them. I hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you so much for being part of Off the Hanger today. It's really lovely to chat to you. I can see that gorgeous rail of stuff sitting at the side of you. But before we dive in, to your super exciting looking rail, I want to chat a little bit about your very varied and diverse fashion career because I think it's fascinating. Please tell me all about it.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there's so much. I've had probably one of the most random careers I think possible, and I definitely think it stems from earliest memories that I didn't think somehow have like linked the paths, but there's all weird connections. So I feel like when it comes to your earliest memories of anything, any industry or whatever, but particularly when you think back to like your earliest career, it's so funny how your childhood has had such an impact on where you end up that you don't think about at the time, you don't link it. But I grew up in the formative years of really toxic diet culture where like being the thinnest you could possibly be was the ultimate sign of achievement. You know, career aspirations or academic achievements or anything was like second. It was all about how you looked. And I didn't really see that, obviously, as a child as something that was very vain or, you know, shallow or anything like that. I just thought, you know, that was normal. And this was, you know, at a time when America's Next Top Model and everything was like reigning supreme on television and like everyone was obsessed with Tyra Banks and stuff. And my dad always used to kind of say, oh, you're really thin. You'll be like that when you're older and stuff. And he used to take me to loads of open castings and things. And they would always say the same thing. They would say, we love your look, but you're a bit too short. So when you get older, come back and we'll have another look at it. And I grew up, but just not, you know, vertically. So that kind of killed that dream. And I was like, sorry, Dad, I'm not going to be a supermodel. But I was always still so interested in fashion. And I remember when my mum and me, we used to go to the salon and she used to get her hair done and her nails, etc. And I used to just sit and wait for her and read all these fashion magazines. And I just loved them. I used to just devour every single editorial. I would kind of take this like mental picture in my head and kind of create all these black and white images of all the shoots and everything. And I just thought it was amazing. I was obsessed with magazines. And we used to move around a lot. And my mum being a single mum, we grew up in this kind of really small 2-bedroom flat. But I loved it because she got the room with the ensuite and I got the bedroom that had this built-in wardrobe. And it was not like a built-in wardrobe where the wardrobe stuck out. It was a proper built-in. The wall was there and then there was like a hole with double doors. And I thought it was so cool. It was like my very own Jenna Rink 13 going on 30 moment. And it had a big rail that went like wall to wall. And it had a big shelf in it. And I was obsessed with this wardrobe. And it had a panel door, like 2 panel doors on the front. So there was 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom, and I loved it. And it was very Devil Wears Prada of me, and I thought I was so cool. I loved this wardrobe, and I thought it was really amazing and really fascinating. And a few years later, this woman moved in next door to us, and she was the epitome of everything that I wanted to be as an 11-year-old, looking up at adults and, you know, wishing that you're older and wishing your life away, which is so silly. But when you're young, you don't know any better. And she was tall, she was tan, she was blonde. She used to wear these like stilettos to work. And she had a little 2-seater black Porsche sports car that she used to drive on the weekends. And she had this big black BMW that she used to take to work. And I was like, who is this woman? She is incredible. I want to be her. And she ended up becoming quite good friends with my mum. And she used to, like, my mum used to be like, oh, you know, Ashlee's obsessed with magazines and she loves reading them and stuff. And she, funnily enough, worked in PR. So she was like, oh, we get tons of magazines at work. And I used to call it Magazine Day because she had a Vogue subscription. And once a month, she would come with this big stack of all of the glossy magazines from her office. So there was, you know, Harper's Bazaar, Elle, In Style, Marie Claire, all of the really great ones. And like sometimes a Tatler or something like that, a Vanity Fair thrown in. And she used to save up her Vogue subscription, and she'd come around with this big stack of magazines and like deliver them to me. And I was obsessed. I used to cut them all out, and I would pour over all of these editorials, cut all of the images out, quotes from journalists and headlines and stuff. And before I even knew what vision boards or manifestation was, I was creating these kind of big collages within the wooden panels. And I was obsessed with models in particular. I was obsessed with like Lily Donaldson, Agnes Den, Gemma Ward. Like, they were the it girls of that era. And I was just obsessed. And I didn't really think that was going to be where my career ended up. I always knew that I wanted to work in fashion, and I loved magazines and stuff. But I was still into so many other things. And I remember that I used to save up all of my pocket money or my Christmas money or whatever. And in the summer sales before school starts, I used to go to a department store and I would get like a premium luxury bag that was meant to be like £300 or £400. And I would get it in like the 75% reduced price. And it was like £60 to £90, which looking back is an extortionate amount for someone to spend on a school bag. But that was like my pride and joy. And each year I would build my collection of handbags. And that was just like such a core memory for me. And then years later, I'll show you this piece. She moved out. Michelle left where we were living, and she gave me this. And this is a Chloe Paddington lock handbag. And I still have the original. It's well worn, which is why she gave it to me. Still got the original padlock in it. And I think she thought this was really dirty and she didn't want it because it was white and it was a bit stained and stuff. I mean, the leather is still in immaculate condition. But I remember thinking, oh my God, I've got a Chloe handbag. I've never worn this. I've never taken it out. This has remained like in my possession in every bedroom that I've ever owned. And I've just kind of kept it as like a weird fashion memento. And I actually found this screwed up piece of folded paper, and it's actually a Versace home that was coming to London. And I must have gone to London on like a trip or something and thought, one day I'm going to live in like a designer apartment in London and stuff. And I've kept it. I mean, the building, I don't know if it still exists now, but yeah, this was like my first real designer handbag compared to the ones that I was buying. But I just remember thinking that this was like the best thing ever. And I didn't really see that was going to be a correlation with what would happen throughout my career. So I was a teenager. This was the really early stages of the internet. So Wix was literally, to create a website on Wix, you used to have a blank white screen. That was it. You had to code everything yourself. And I had a little blogspot blog. I had Polyvore and like Lookbook and all of these like really, really baby fetus sites compared to what the internet is now. And there was no Instagram, there was no anything. And I remember like everyone at school thinking it was so uncool. So I like didn't tell anyone that I had this little blog and like my own little Tumblr account. And I had like an alias and everything that I was like, no one's going to know it's me. And I was coding, I was doing everything myself. And I kind of learned how to use what is now affiliate linking. But I was finding things from other websites and learning how to like collage them and integrate them so it looked like a magazine, but it was online and you could click on the links and stuff. So if there was something within the collage, you could click on it and it would take you to wherever it was and you could buy it. And a couple of people were like, oh, can you style this trend and can you create pieces on this? So I started to then write articles that were based around that. Didn't think anything of it. And then I got invited to London Fashion Week and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so big time. And I was like 16 at the time. And I remember people looking at me being like, who's this kid? Like, who's this child that's here? And it was just kind of like, I'm there feeling like the biggest imposter because there's designers and celebrities and all these people that I look up to. And I'm just there like, I have a blog, I have a little thing on the internet. But weirdly, as I was like networking and stuff, which is so important, I'm going to stress that in any career, is network. Because I was telling someone about my blog and they said, oh, we're developing a website and we could actually use your help. And I was kind of like, oh, what do I know about websites? Which now is copywriting. It's now SEO. It's now, affiliate linking. But at the time, I had no idea what any of this was. I was just a kid with a laptop. And it was essentially, it doesn't exist anymore, but it was kind of a combination between what Pinterest is now and what ASOS is now. And it was kind of a blend of the both. So essentially the site was like a Pinterest feed of different edits, they called it. And it was trends and different things that you could kind of click on and shop through. and then it would take you to the respective websites, which ASOS kind of does now. But this was like a brand new invention. Like no one was really shopping like this on the internet. And I was like, whoa, yeah, I'll do that. And looking back now, this was grossly undercharged. You paid thousands to do it now, but at the time I was getting paid in £100 gift cards. For a 16-year-old, I thought this was the coolest thing ever because I could shop for free. I was like, you're going to pay me £100 for whatever store I want? Sold. So I was creating these these little edits that people could shop online for. And from there, I got picked up by an independent fashion magazine, and they asked me to do trend reports. And they were like, we'll give you front row seats to all the shows at London Fashion Week. And we just need you to interview celebrities and start doing like the cover stories and stuff. And I was like, yes, sold. So I started doing that. And again, through networks and parties, I met a celebrity who had their own fashion brand, but they were dyslexic. And I was just gone to uni. I'd just moved to London at this point. I'm 18, like fresh off the boat. And they said that they needed what is now known as like ghost copywriting. So someone to go through their Instagram, collate the images and write captions and their blog post as if it was them speaking. So I would just sit in her house and kind of have a conversation with her, learn kind of how she spoke and try and write in that style. You know, and I did that for a bit and I was like, okay, thanks for the experience. And we were all young, like everyone at uni, I went to fashion school and everyone was young. We were trying to build our portfolios and our CVs, taking these random jobs and not seeing them as jobs. This was just like, we were having fun. This was just a great time. Young, independent, like living on our own in the city. It was all like, woo. But I kind of didn't think anything of it. And then I remember getting a cold headhunt email from one of the biggest news outlets in the world. And I thought it was a joke. I genuinely thought it was a spam email. And I had to like reread this. And they were like, can you come into the office and do our trend reports for celebrities and what they're wearing? And I thought, that's got to be fake. Like, who's going to email me? I don't know anyone that works there. I didn't know anyone through someone else who works there. And I thought it was a joke. But I turned up, big marble offices, glass lift. And I was like, whoa, it's like being in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And suddenly this was like my first like real gig. I was getting paid actual money to be there. And I was doing all of the celebrity pieces and writing what they were wearing and how you could get the look for less. And it was kind of like, I don't know if you remember in magazines, they used to have like a spend and a splurge kind of vibe. So I was doing like 4 alternatives for different budgets and like where you could get the look for less. And what really kind of like threw me into the world of, oh my God, this is actually a serious job, was the day that Meghan Markle first ever appeared with Prince Harry. And I was just sat, it was a 24-hour news outlet, and I used to do the night shift. So I would sit in the office on my own, typing away. And I remember these images came in of who's this mystery girl with Prince Harry? We need to know who this is. Bearing in mind, I never spoke to anyone in this office. I would turn up, write my little articles and go. Suddenly 4 guys run at me and they're like, who's this woman? What's she wearing? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, who are you? And there was a guy from like the politics section. There was a guy from like World News, like all these really big wigs from this publication asking me who this girl was, what she was wearing, all this stuff. And I remember being like, oh my God, people actually want to know what I'm writing about and stuff. So I started doing things like Back Kate Middleton and stuff like that. And when that ended, I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, oh, I'm finishing uni now. I'm going to look for like another job. And I ended up working in luxury personal shopping. And then instead of writing about these celebrities, suddenly I'm shopping for them. And I'm kind of there thinking, this is so full circle, because I was this kid in my bedroom reading all these magazines, dreaming about these people. And suddenly I'm picking out their perfume, picking out their makeup, picking out their shoes, like knowing what events they're going to and trying to shop for them. So it was so like a roller coaster that I essentially didn't realize I was on. I didn't have any kind of autonomy of what was happening. I was just saying yes to each thing, going with the flow, and it just kind of rolled into like one thing after the other. So yeah, it's been like the biggest change of careers, but I've been really grateful for every second of it because I've learned so much. But I think that's the thing. I don't think that this would happen now because of the time that it was. we're talking like 15, 16 years ago, like the birth of the internet was, it was in its infancy. Everyone didn't have a clue what we were doing. No one was getting paid. No one was doing anything for social media fame or anything like that. Like Instagram was just not a thing. And when it came out, it was the Valencia filter. You took a really bad picture of something and that was kind of it. Like nobody really cared. And I think now if I was to do that journey again, it wouldn't happen the same way, because it wouldn't be a case of like networking and going to one thing after another. I remember going to an event which turned out then to be the university that I went to. I went to London College of Fashion. And if you remember Company magazine, massive throwback, the editor met me there and she was like, oh, you'll really get on with some of the girls, come to our Christmas party. And I was like, okay, sure. And suddenly I'm at like this magazine party and everyone's like, oh, you're the girl with the blog and you're the girl with this. And suddenly it was not uncool to have a blog. Suddenly it was a cool thing to be like, oh yeah, I have a blog and I have this and I have that. And yeah, so it just kind of naturally evolved. There was no trying, no kind of forcing or pushing, which I think is very different now. Everyone is trying to be something. Everyone's trying to say something. Everyone's trying to have an opinion. But back then you just kind of did it and just kind of saw what happened. It was way more authentic, which I think is a nice time to kind of look back with fond, maybe slightly rose-tinted memories.
What an incredible journey. And to have fashion be so woven through all of your choices, and basically it was just your love of fashion that's driven you throughout. So I'm super excited to get into some of those pieces and some of the stories behind them. So let's start with the oldest thing in your wardrobe.
Now, I am a little bit of a hoarder, a little bit, and I basically, my philosophy with clothes is if it fits and it's not broken and you can still wear it. I do not believe in like throwing many things out. So basically everything in my wardrobe is very, very old. But I have a few pieces here. So I've got some vintage pieces. I've got some real like trips down memory lane. But when I first started to get like pocket money and save up and stuff, I remember I used to try and buy everything in the adult stores because I wanted to be cool and like a grown up and stuff. And I remember getting these shorts in a men's vintage store in Brighton. And they're just like some Levi 501s that have been cut off and turned into women's shorts. And they had a sale on. I think I got these for like £5 or £10 and I bought one in like every single color. Since that day, I have worn these shorts every single summer of my life since I was probably about 14, 15, and they have not steered me wrong. So I have one of those in every color. And also along that kind of same note, I remember the first time I went into New Look and I wasn't buying the Generation stuff. I remember buying this in the smallest adult size that they could get because I wanted like real clothes, not kids' clothes. This is just a striped t-shirt. I'm literally wearing a striped t-shirt under this. This is like my wardrobe basic essential. Pretty much all of my t-shirts are about 10 years old or something, but most of the things in my wardrobe are kind of like that. But I guess like even this is my prom dress, for example. I got this for free because my friend gave it to me. She didn't want it. And again, I wear this every year, every wedding, every christening, every event where I'm like, I need a dress. This is my dress. And it's just a one shoulder kind of Grecian. It's got like a flared, fluted kind of sleeve vibe. So like got a little waistband and then I'll like put a belt with it or something. I've worn this every year. I don't care about outfit repeating. Like get your money's worth out of your clothes. So yeah, those are some really old pieces. But in terms of like cool vintage pieces, I have this. This is a original Thomas Burberry. It's got the original Thomas Burberry label in. This is a vintage men's shirt that has been recut and taken into a new pattern as a woman's like cropped shirt. And it's got the original TB in there. And I got this in near me. There's a secondhand like pre-loved luxury store and it takes old pieces and some of the things are kind of reworked to fit more like modern trends. And I just loved this. I thought it was a really good staple.
I love the silhouette of that's beautiful with that.
It's so lovely. It's so lovely. And it's just like a classic piece that's not going to go out of style. You can wear it anytime. But the real gem, this one, my mum found in a charity shop for £1.50. And this is a proper Ralph Lauren, not a polo, not anything like this. Is like real Ralph Lauren. This is a vintage wrap dress. I'm not sure what year it's from exactly, but the wrap is like, this is so long. So you have to kind of tie it around. But it's got this beautiful ruffle around the neckline, and then it just kind of like, it just flows. And again, weddings, christenings, anything that's summer related, this is like my go-to dress. And this is very old. And again, it was just found in a charity shop. She was like, I found one thing in a size 6 and I grabbed it, and I hope you like it. And she pulled it out the bag, and I was like, that is stunning. It kind of reminds me of Julia Roberts when she goes to the races, to the polo.
I was going to say, the polka dot print is just giving Julia Roberts such a classic, so timeless. What a find.
Yeah, so those are kind of like the oldest pieces in my wardrobe, and I wear them on repeat. And I definitely think if it's not broken, don't fix it. So,
now, what's the piece in your wardrobe that would get the most compliments?
This is so random. I'm actually wearing some of them now just for ease, but I'll take it off so I can show you a bit better. I have a clothing piece here, but it's actually my jewelry. So this here is a Casio watch that I got from Argos for $19.99, I think. And I got this because when I was at school, the exam hall didn't have a working clock. So they told everyone, you need to wear a watch for your exam to time keep. So I just went into Argos and I got the cheapest watch I could find. This was £20, and I thought, oh, that's quite cool. It looks a little bit retro. And this is probably, people will grab my wrist and be like, where is this watch from? Because they think it's like really vintage. And I'm like, babe, it's Argos. Like, go and get it. And I remember when I was selling someone an £800,000 watch, and they took my wrist and went, where is this from? And I was like, it's Casio. And they were like, what's that? They were so unaware of what this brand was because they're so used to buying like Rolex and AP and stuff. And I'm thinking, the watch you're buying is nearly £1 million and you're worried about this. So that's one of them. The other one is this. This is a old Louis Vuitton travel lock that's been turned into a chain. They now sell, I think the menswear definitely sell this, and it's about £300 to £400. I paid £50 for this. So it's not as shiny and sparkly as the other one, but I kind of like that it's got this like vintage, almost brassiness to the gold. People stop and ask me about this all the time, and I just say it's an old luggage lock that's been turned into a chain, and I kind of wear that when I need like a little bit of a statement or something. But in terms of clothing, and this is again something when I was working with very, very wealthy clients, I was always wearing things like Primark because I was like lugging stuff around, and they would go, "Where's your dress from?" And I'd be like, Primark. But I had this black. I don't have it anymore because it really wasn't my style. I just remember they were like, you need to look really respectable. You need to be very formal. So I went and I just quickly grabbed a £6 dress, and I picked up this one as well, which I'm going to show you. And it was just a black dress with floral print on it, very big kind of graphic thing. And I really hated this dress. I was like, oh, it's really not me. It's not my style. But everyone used to ask me every day, where's your dress from? And they also used to ask me about this. This is a Primark number. I think I paid like £6 or £8 for this. Not expensive at all. But it is a long line kind of safari camel dress. It's very thin, perfect for summer. You can dress it up and down. And I think whenever I wear something within kind of the safari theme, I have this one here. This is a French Connection piece that I got, again, in a sample sale. So it was the only size 6 there. And I was like, I need that. That's one size. It needs a bit of an iron. Everyone always asks about this as well. But again, I think I paid like £10 for this because it was in an end of season sale. But I think the reason that people compliment this is more to do with a little bit of color theory in a way, because they're very complimentary of my features. I don't know if it's actually like the dress themselves, but if you wear anything within your colors, I think people will automatically go, wow, that looks great on you, because it's complimenting your hair or your eye color or your skin tone or whatever. But yeah, whenever I wear something kind of safari or, camouflagey, people are like, oh, I love that. It's not necessarily my everyday style, but it's something that I do like to kind of dabble in the summer, and it normally gets people talking, which is quite interesting.
And I love that you seem to have a very similar ethos to me, in that you like a bargain, you like a sample sale, you will put the effort in when it comes to getting early and being the front of that queue to get in that sale, to get that handbag. So I'm imagining your most expensive piece you own, you might not have paid full price for.
Definitely not.
That's what it is.
I will never pay full price for anything in my wardrobe, even cheap stuff. I've got it on sale with a discount code, with a with a card or something. Like, nothing in my wardrobe is full price. So I've got a few pieces here that I can show you. So obviously something like this is probably one of my most expensive jumpers. This is an Ami Paris menswear piece. I paid half price, didn't pay full price. But one of the things that I've probably spent the most money on is my Stella McCartney collection. I love Stella McCartney handbags. I think I have 6 or 7 of them, all different colors and shapes and stuff. But this is my everyday go-to handbag, just because I like to pack the kitchen sink and be prepared at all times. I've got like a makeup bag and all of that. And this allows me to be a little bit more edited with what I'm taking. It fits a lot in. It's not a bad size, but it's just, I kind of only can really take the essentials. And I really like that it's got like a bit of a statement strap. It's a really lovely like faux leather, and it's just a really handy bag. So it's not the most expensive in my collection of Stellas, but it's probably the one that gets the most love and use. But yeah, in terms of like the most expensive piece, I think definitely got my Stella handbags, but also something like this. Originally the retail price for this is £345. I paid £99 at TK Maxx, and it is a Nanushka beach bag. I had one from H&M, which I loved for years, and I literally wore it until the handles fell apart, and I was like, I'm going on holiday, I need a beach bag. I always loved this, and I was really not prepared to spend that amount of money. And it was actually my friend, she sent me a link and was like, is this the bag that you're talking about? And I was like, buy now. Thank you very much. And I took this on holiday, and I somehow managed to get this through as hand luggage. Not sure, it's definitely a little bit bigger, but very useful. But the one that is probably the most sentimental is actually my graduation dress. And I did buy also, again, in the kids section. If you're a petite person, go to the kids section of designer stores because you'll pay less. But I have a Burberry trench coat, which I haven't worn yet because the weather has not been, it's been too wet to wear it. But that's actually here. I haven't even brought it out of the bag. It's still here in the bag. And I'm just waiting for like that nicer spring weather where I can just put a little jacket without it getting soaked. But that is from the children's section. So again, I didn't pay as much. But this, again, is the only thing I keep in the packaging as well. And it's, again, from Chloe, which if I think about this, is a really weird full circle moment because this was my first bag and this is a Chloe bag. When I graduated from fashion school, I knew that I wanted to wear a designer piece. I just felt like it was kind of a rite of passage. I wanted to wear my first piece of designer clothing graduating from fashion school. And I knew I wanted to wear white, and I had a dress in my mind, but nothing too specific. But I knew I wanted to wear white because the black robe, I wanted it to kind of stand out a bit. And I went to Bicester Village hoping to find a bargain and couldn't find anything. I went in all my favorite stores. Prada had nothing, Dior had nothing. No, and I was so ready to give up the search. And I was like, I'm just going to pop back into Chloe. I'm so glad I did because they literally got a delivery 10 minutes before I came in. They're like, we're just unpackaging this now. And I said, do you have anything in like a UK 4 to 6? Because everything in there was like 10s, 12s because it's an outlet. And they were like, we have one item. Do you want to have a look at it? And I was like, yes, please. And it was this dress, which is white, border in glace, which is probably one of my favorite summer dress styles. And it's this. So you could probably get a dupe of this from Zara or like something like that, a lot cheaper. But to me, this is just so sentimental and so stunning. And I love that it's got a puffed sleeve, but it's not too big that you can still put something over it. And yeah, it's got a simple zip at the back, but it's an invisible zip, so you won't see it, which I really like. And it's kind of got a slight little flare, but it's not too much. It's kind of pretty much straight up, straight down. But I just thought this was so sweet. It was basically exactly what I had in my head. And yeah, this is probably the most expensive piece of clothing that I own aside from the Burberry, but it's probably the one that means the most to me out of everything. And hopefully one day I plan to go back and do like a PhD or something, and I'll wear this to each and every ceremony that I go to. This is going to be like my go-to dress. Maybe an engagement party one day or something in the future. That's going to be my forever dress that I will just wear on like really specific occasions.
And I love when you,
not quite the same as
I love when you get a piece like that is a style that's very much you. You love the broderie on glaze. The white's gorgeous, and I think you just look after it. It's timeless. And yes, you may have been able to get a dupe in Zara, but would it feel as special? No, it really wouldn't. And I don't think you'd have the same inclination to hang on to it and look after it as much as that beautiful Chloe one. I guarantee the Zara one would not be kept in its bag. It would be like in a drawer
on this rack. You're like, I've worn this 100 times. It's really beautiful. I love Chloe as a designer as well, because something that's kind of a bit, I feel like anyone that's in fashion kind of does this, but I definitely dress for my mood. Like my everyday style is very much this. It's an oversized jumper or t-shirt, jeans and Converses. But I like a quirky shoe. I like something that's a bit different, but I really love masculine clothing that's then been kind of altered to fit more of a feminine profile. But sometimes when it comes to summer, I then go in the opposite direction and I go full on like feminine, girly, boho kind of style. And I think that's the fun thing. I definitely play with mood. That I have my neutrals and my classics, and I think, that's never going out of style, particularly with tailoring. I think tailoring is so important. But there's just something fun about getting to play dress up and almost be like a different person and explore a new personality with clothing, which I think is so exciting that you just kind of don't really get with any other thing in life.
No, I agree completely. So what's your newest addition to the wardrobe?
This is something very utilitarian, but it's something that I had really needed in my wardrobe for a really long time. And it's this denim oversized shirt. Of course, everything that I own has to have a bit of oversize. I love chucking a shirt over something, and I really wanted this kind of deeper mixed indigo where it kind of looks a little bit worn. And I saw this and I was like, brilliant. Again, didn't pay full price. Got it in a 15% off H&M sale, and I had a voucher for £3. So I paid like what was meant to be $19.99. I ended up paying like £15 or something. And I've worn this to death. I only got this a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I've worn it pretty much every day in some respect. So this has been a well-loved piece in my wardrobe. And I think if you're going to do that with high street, because obviously there is the whole thing of fast fashion is really bad for the environment, and I completely agree, try and be as sustainable as possible. But if you are shopping high street, trying to find something that you know you're going to wear to death and the cost per wear, and it's not going to be something that you get bored of in like 5 minutes and then throw away, I think is really important. So I'm a bit of I love like a spontaneity about clothing and the fun of it, but I really think about each piece that goes into my wardrobe, and this was definitely something that I was like, I've been missing this. This needs to come home with me. So I really, really like that piece.
And for me, a denim shirt is on a par with the classics of a little black dress, a crisp white shirt, a trench coat. If you really like those classic pieces, I think a denim shirt should be right up there. I recently got a new one, and same as you, I've worn it so many times already. It's super comfortable. I am totally on board for a full Canadian tuxedo. I love a bit of double denim. I will hear no bad things said of it. Give me that Justin and Britney moment, a la the 2000s. But I think it looks great. But then equally, with a pair of tailored trousers or a cool skirt, or, just throwing it on with my leggings, I think it's such a great, useful piece to have.
Yeah. That's something I would 100% agree with, is pretty much all of the pieces in my wardrobe are dress up or dress down, day to night. I really don't agree with having, apart from something really sentimental perhaps, such as like a wedding dress or whatever, of having a piece in your wardrobe that you can only wear for a really specific occasion, because you're just not going to get the wear out of it. Whereas if you buy something, that you can, I wear this with leggings, I wear this with skirts and boots, like a versatile piece that's also not really trend led is really important, because trends are great. They're really informative of the time that we're in. And I think fashion says so little about style, but more about your lifestyle and the economics of the world around us and what's going on in the time. Like fashion is ultimately utilitarian. It's why it can't be copyrighted. It's why we invest so much in it, because it's a statement piece about our personality and who we are. But at the end of the day, everybody needs to wear clothes. So it's something that you can really have fun with, but you really have to think about practicality over the fun aspects of it. I think function is so important, and I think denim is really long lasting. It's really durable, and it's such a iconic piece of my wardrobe. Like, I love jeans, and I think that's something that you've really got to invest your time and money in getting right, because people can go, oh, I don't like jeans, they're really hard to buy. jeans are easy to buy if you know what you're looking for and you've worked out kind of the hacks for it. Yeah, denim, big thumbs up for me.
And I think because we spoke about like the sustainability aspect of fast fashion, denim is obviously one of the worst culprits for its environmental impact. But choosing your denim really carefully and not just willy-nilly going, oh, well, this shape of jeans in fashion at the moment, I'm going to jump on that trend. And then in a year's time you go, oh my God, I wouldn't be seeing dead in those now. Actually buying the ones that are right for your shape, that are really comfortable, that are a classic, they're great pieces that you actually invest that little bit more in, but then they really do give you that kind of price there, and they're not recycled in your wardrobe as quickly. There's not a quick turnover in your wardrobe of them.
Yeah, 100%. And what I will say about denim as well, like the reason it's so bad is obviously all the dyeing and the water intensive program. I actually did my final year project on denim, funnily enough, and the sustainability of it. But what I love about denim is it is a universal product. Men, women, non-binary, any shape, any size, denim will work for you, cut, color, however you want to do it. But the thing that I would really suggest as well is actually going to a denim brand rather than high street denim, because high street denim, they're just pumping out whatever's cool and trendy. But if you go to an actual denim brand that only does jeans and denim pieces, they're going to have that classic cut that you can just buy that piece for you. So I think it's a really good investment piece. You don't have to spend like hundreds of thousands of pounds on like getting every single denim, but just a couple of pairs I think is really good, because you can dress it up, dress it down day, night, and it's just universal. It works for everyone, and it's not trend led. If you want it to be trend led, you can lean into it, but it's just a really good universal piece that I think everyone should really think about quite carefully in their wardrobe. And it's just a nice, easy chuck on at the end of the day as well, like today.
So what's the piece in your wardrobe that would most sum you up?
Oh, definitely something like what I'm wearing right now. I love a funky shoe. Like I've said, like I do like a cool, quirky trainer and stuff. But for me, this is a piece that if I had to like probably pick one thing to like add to an outfit, it's a blazer, which for someone who spends most of their time just like chilling out in oversized stuff, this is again oversized. I've been a fan of the blazer since I can remember, but this one has stood the test of time in my wardrobe. This is from H&M. It's not expensive. It's an oversized, it's almost like a bit menswear inspired again. I love that it's got this kind of very subtle check to it. I do like a pattern piece every now and again, but I don't like a pattern that's like really in your face. One that you can kind of play with and work around other things. But it's a grey that's not too distinct either. You can kind of make it lighter, make it darker. Some greys are quite hard to dress, and some people really avoid grey because they're like, it's drab, I don't know what to wear with it. But grey can really work. Again, it works for anyone. And this piece I love. I've worn this so many times, countless times. I think if you scroll through my Instagram, it's probably on like every section of my grid. So I think a blazer is definitely my go-to piece, and especially like a black oversized one. But something about this grey one has just, it's a statement. It's a statement piece when I don't want to make too much of a statement, but I want a little bit of something. And it's, again, I wear it with skirts, jeans. I would wear it with this outfit. Blazers are like top tier for me in the fashion pyramid.
I agree. And I think it's for me because you can put them in any scenario and they work. Night out, you look great.
Yeah.
Fancy dinner, you look great. Meeting with somebody, perfect. Lunch, fine. School run, you're not over the top. Any situation, that blazer's just going to bail you out regardless of really what you've got on underneath it. And I think that is essential.
100%. What's really fun with them as well is you can really play with them. I mean, that one's that one for me is in the realm of plain and jazzy. You can really go to town. You can have a really big, loud blazer, or you can have a really muted one. And I think, again, it's just something that I would say to everyone, have a blazer in your wardrobe. If you like the trench coat, the white shirt, I'm like, add a blazer, please. Everyone needs a blazer. They're so good. And they're a good in-between jacket in that weather where you're like, do I need a jacket? Do I not need a jacket? Chuck a blazer on, sorted.
Exactly.
Fine.
And if you need a big coat, a really simple kind of wool coat thrown over your shoulders over the top of the blazer, yes, absolutely. So chic.
Job
done. Now, can you share a wardrobe malfunction or a fashion faux pas? Because in your long, illustrious career in fashion, I feel that you can definitely join my club. Something must have happened to you at some point.
I'm very, very fortunate that I've never had a malfunction. I'm going to put that down to tailoring and expertly knowing cuts and fits. But I definitely have something that I probably would look back at and go, that was a fun time, but we're not going to repeat that. I think this comes from, again, being a bit of an avoider of trends, but this one took me hook, line, and sinker. I was obsessed with, and again, I'm going to blame Chloe for this, the boho headband. You got to think, it was like the 2010s. Coachella was in its heyday. The flower crowns were raining, but I had like the little braided ones. I had like ones with little flowers on. I had just plain ones. That millennial trend lives in my head rent-free sometimes. And I'm like, why did we do that? I had them in every color. I wore them to school every single day, and I thought I looked so cool. Misha Barton, I was not. Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, I was not. But, they were doing it. I was doing it. I was like, oh, look at me with my headband. No, I would not do it again. I would not recommend it. But what I will say, it's a time capsule of where we were in the world, and it's fun to look back at and think, yeah, that was the time. That was the time. And that's my aim and plan.
Yeah,
basically.
And I do think when you start to see kind of trends coming back, I obviously low-rise jeans, and like I've lived through low-rise jeans once, and I'm not that keen to go there again because
I think Capri's coming back, and I'm like, no, they were wrong the first time. We're not doing it again. My body shape's
entirely different now, and I don't think it was great then. I think it's going to be much worse now. But then I feel we're gradually trekking through the eras of low-rise jeans. The disc belt I saw the other day, I was like, this is not a vibe. And so I feel these headbands, they're going to appear at some point, and some young little TikToker is going to be wearing this going, oh my God, this is so cool. And we're going to be going, no, don't do it.
I beg you, please. And I think as well, what didn't help is because nobody else at my school was really into fashion. Nobody else was doing this. Everyone was like, what is on your head? And I was like, all the celebrities are wearing it. Read Vogue. It's in there. Because it was on it was everywhere, this trend. And I was obsessed. And I would not have anyone tell me that it didn't look good, because in my head, but that's on being 14, 13. Like you just couldn't listen to anyone else at that age. Me now, I'm begging you, don't do it, TikTokers. Just leave it in the past where it's meant to be. It's a time capsule. Don't open it again.
And I think the worst part of that trend for me was like, when you did it, when you put it on, it would gradually move and boof the back of your hair up. So you...
Oh my God. So what I used to do is I used to hide it under this.
You'd end up with a weird kind of boob, and you'd see people on nights out and they'd have this going on with their like hair, or the back of it sticking up in a big puffy style. And I'd just be like, oh, is it meant to look like that? It's not. Anyway, let's move swiftly on from that horror and delve into your shoe drobe. What are your favourite shoes?
Oh, I'm so like... I used to be a massive heels fan, but I'm going to show you probably the most boring pair of shoes you're ever going to see in your life. Like, oh my God, really? That's your favourite shoe?
I want to see them. Oh,
my black Cavianas. I've had these, again, I'm going to say 15 years. They're still basically brand new. I wear these religiously every summer. They are the comfiest shoe I own. If I was like in a fire, these are what are going on my feet quickly. But because I knew I was coming on here, I bought two little fun pairs of heels that, again, are a bit different. I keep all my shoes in their boxes. These I love. I think these are so cool. I love a mule, but they are these Kurt Geiger they're called gunmetal. They're like a little bit sparkly. They've got like this nice embellished strap with like diamantes and stuff. And I just think they're very cool. You can just slip them on with that grey blazer, maybe, give that a little shout out.
Give them Malone Souliers, but not the price tag.
100%. Kurt Geiger, again, I probably got them in a sale somewhere. And I got these back in the days. I was the biggest Topshop girl. ever. Everything I owned was Topshop, absolutely everything. I don't wear pink, but I saw these and I just thought they were so different and cool. I do love a little like sling back with the strap. They've got a little buckle, but the fringe, it was the fringe that got me, and I thought they were really cool. They're just like a blush muted pink. Again, they've got like a cross little peep toe and a nice chunky heel. I love like a thick heel. So yeah, those I keep in my little heel collection, and they're probably my most like fun heels. But yeah, on a day-to-day basis, I'm wearing Converses or Caviars, like in a row.
Great. I was not expecting a very feminine, pretty pink pair in there, but they're fabulous. Are they a satin as well?
Two ends of the section.
Are they a satin?
The pink ones are, yes, yeah.
Very lovely. I like it a lot. Now, if somebody could gift you a dream fashion item, it doesn't have to be practical. You can have it irrespective of however much it costs, but you can have anything in the world. What would that thing be?
Mine's probably quite boring in the grand scheme of things. As a handbag lover and collector over the years, I do like a classic handbag, one that's probably not going to go out of style again for many reasons. But I'm not going to say like a Birkin or a Kelly. I think they are very overdone, unfortunately. But I do love the Lady Dior, the long ones, not the square classic Lady Dior's, but the little Dior in like a canvas or the denim, something a bit different. Again, a bit of a twist on that really classic bag. Love. I do love a Bottega Jodie dupe. Like, I do think like the big ones that are coming in, I really love those. But yeah, I would say a little Lady Dior, little top handle moment. Not practical, not something I would wear every day, but it is a very nice bag, and I'm very jealous of anyone that owns one. So. Or the book totes. The book totes, I would have them in every single colour, every single size. Those Dior book totes have a chokehold over me. But again, I'm really not willing to pay like £1,000 plus for essentially a tote bag.
I agree completely. For the past 2 years, they have flooded my Instagram like a constant source of torment. And I look and I go, I really, really want one. I really want one. And I'm like, it's £1,000 for that. So then I've been looking a little bit on Vinted, and they are still super spenny. And I'm just like, I can't justify this for what is a tote bag.
I'll show you my everyday bag, okay? No joke. This is my everyday bag. This is a Kanken. Like, it's falling apart. I bought this because when I was at uni, we did a trip to Tanzania, and everyone was like, "Oh, let's go and climb Kilimanjaro." And I was like, "Sure," like not knowing what I was signing up for. Everybody dropped out of this trip because then they were like, "Oh my God, it's this huge mountain and we don't want to climb that." And I was like, "Oh, it's not going to be that bad." And this was my little backpack that I took up Kilimanjaro. And it was brilliant. It fitted everything in. I loved it. And I was like, this bag is amazing. So I took this backpacking with me around Brazil. And it like folds up, it scrunches up. You can lay it flat and everything. And then when I started working in London and I was, commuting everywhere and stuff, this just fit everything in. And I was like, I can shove it over my back. I've got my hands free. And I just love it. I mean, I know people aren't like the biggest backpack fans, but like this, if you've not got onto a Kanken, like you need to get onto it because they are just the best bags. And I've now bought like a newer edition of that one because this one is like very much falling apart. So I've used it every single day. So like again, the opposite ends of the spectrum are really, really showing there. I'm like, the joy, but yeah, this is what I'm using every day. So.
And to finish on, do you have a piece of fashion advice that you would give to your younger self other than avoiding those headwinds?
I would very much say don't worry about being cool, being trendy. Focus on your personal style, the fit of what you're wearing, and what you can actually afford. I think there's this real myth around everything has to be luxury, or you have to buy luxury clothes and then cheap accessories, or, luxury accessories and cheap clothes. And that's so not true. I mean, I say that wearing like a £300-400 jumper, but the point that I'm trying to make is whatever your budget is, you can make it work. And I think there's so much emphasis around like logos and designers and, you know, everything being a certain trend or a certain aesthetic. And if that's not you, like, don't worry about it. I think it's so much nicer to look back at photos of your younger self and go, yeah, that really summed up who I was at a time. You know, if your thing is graphic band t-shirts and ripped jeans, go for it. Like, really focus on what you like and what is going to make you feel good, because when you're more confident in what you're wearing, there's just this natural ease about you. And it's so nice seeing people that are comfortable in themselves and not trying to be something else. And I think in an industry where everyone's trying to be something that they're probably not, and there's a lot of imposters in there's a lot of people trying to fake it till they make it, it's so obvious. And when you see someone that's just genuinely true to themselves, no matter what the style is, if you like it, wear it. Don't worry what anyone else is thinking, but think about your budget, because I think we're too sucked into buying designer things. Like, I'll show you one last item before I go. Again, I've never used this. This is my nan's. I think she got this on her honeymoon when she went to Venice. And this is, again, an original, like, Thomas Burberry. This is from, like, the 60s kind of era, I want to say. I don't use it because it is so beat up. Like, there's bits that are, like, falling apart on it. She actually messaged me the other day on WhatsApp and said, I'm going on holiday. Do you still have that Burberry bag that I lent you years ago? And I was like, I do, but you probably don't want to use it because it is falling apart. But this, like, I would never take this on holiday with me because it is so, like, loud and egregious. But it's beautiful. It's a timeless piece. It's so well crafted. It's huge. It fits something in. But this isn't going to be everyone's style. This is not like, this to me is very special because my nan gave it to me. I love Burberry as a brand. But if Burberry's not your brand, don't look at someone and go, oh, I need to have what they're having. This is just a sentimental piece that I keep. And I think it's just a really beautiful design. I love the check on it. Again, I've got a check blazer. This is very much in keeping with my style. But I think, again, a lot of people, they wear things because they're told to wear things. Fashion images and publications, they're driving trends and stuff. And it's just to sell. Ultimately, it's just to make money. And I think if you've got something in your wardrobe that you love, use it to death. Like, I mean, I'm not going to use this because it is very sentimental, but I love this kind of thing. But it's really not for everyone's taste. And I completely understand that not everyone's going to love that piece. And I think that doesn't bother me. I'm not here to dress for anyone else. I'm here to dress for myself. And I think if we all adopt that mentality of just embracing ourselves more, I sound so cheesy and it sounds so cliche, but do what you want. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing, because at the end of the day, no one else cares. Everyone's worrying about themselves. And I think that's something that I definitely learned in the industry, is everyone is too busy focusing on what they're doing to worry about what you're doing. So just go be yourself. Be yourself.
That's incredible advice. And actually, you are so right. I have had over 50 guests on the podcast, all incredibly stylish people in their own unique way. And it's an ethos that's in every single one of them. It's all about dressing for themselves, wearing the things that they like. And that's why they're stylish, because they're just wearing the things that they love and they like and that they feel comfortable in, as opposed to trying to squeeze themselves into a box that's somebody else's box and somebody else's ideal. You want to just be yourself. But oh my goodness, I've enjoyed chatting with you so much. Thank you so much for sharing all of your gorgeous stories and your brilliant wardrobe.
Thank you so much for having me. I've had so much fun. This has been a real trip down memory lane.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please remember to check out some more episodes of Off the Hanger.